Hey everyone, I'm here with Ricky, the owner of Neighborhood Bar Covington, Sam Horn, who is the owner of Neighborhood Bar Concord, Kelsey from Neighborhood Bar Noonan. What was that main trigger, either within you or within the environment that you're operating in, that really sparked the shift that we've seen over the past several months?
I was doing everything myself. I felt like I needed to do everything myself.
For some reason, this 1 month, the one dip just was a smack in the face, and I wasn't okay with it.
So I found out I was pregnant in actually almost a year ago in June of 2023.
And then towards the middle or end of the month, I felt like I was just like reaching out to anybody and everybody trying to hit some sort of number. And then I realized that it shouldn't and doesn't need to be that way.
And I think just sat with myself and said, this is not okay. And that is okay. But sitting in this and not doing anything about it is not okay. So like, what can I do to make things better?
I'm not doing this. I'm not staying here in this spot.
My instructor team was very limited. So at the time I was teaching and in the business more than I was able to work on it. I was teaching an average of 12 to 15 classes a week at one point. And it kind of had to quickly drop back because my energy and just everything was going downhill. I started to see numbers start to go down, class attendance wise, also in memberships. So I saw it like both monetarily and then just literally what was happening in the practicality of the business.
You are doing this alone and it doesn't need to be that way.
One of the things is like when you're struggling, it's like, oh my gosh, I want a magic answer. I want a magic pill. I want a magic something to make this all go away. And that's not a thing. Like that doesn't exist.
So once you kind of woke up and said, okay, I don't have anything to blame this on, what did you do in your studio to start working towards that shift?
I had to look internally and figure out what I was doing. And we've had this conversation before, what I was doing to possibly sabotage my own success in the studio. And I think a lot of it, what I was doing was trying to use excuses that we were able to use in the past, and we just can't use those anymore.
Now my time is limited, the most that it has ever been. But I want this to be successful. So what can I do to, make things happen from there? So I met with Kara and Katie to just kind of evaluate, hey, like, is there anything that I've missed? What can I catch up on? And in that, just kind of sat down and was very real about like, I do not like where my business is at right now. I hate the way this is making me feel. What can I do, to turn it around from there?
One of the first things that I did, I just started implementing some different roles within my staff. So I feel now that I have a lot more support within my instructors. They have taken some of them have taken various leadership roles. And now I have support with them, support within the franchise, a lot of the other owners I reach out to a lot as well.
And one of the big ones that I was stuck in for some reason was other places being my competition. And so what I did was have to shift my mindset from worrying about other locations and other studios, other gyms being my competition, to making sure that anybody who steps in my studio just has the best experience that they can possibly have.
Number one was regularly attending all of the office hours and all hands calls. And I know that sounds simple because it's on like all of our calendars, but sometimes it was, oh, life gets busy. And sometimes I was able to watch the recording, sometimes I wasn't. And it just so happened that when I came back, like the start of this year, we've been diving into the sales process and what does that look like and how we can plug holes. And I quickly realized through every single one of the calls, like, wow, I think I have holes in every part of my sales process.
And then the second one, which was probably the biggest one that has really shifted everything that kind of goes on here with the new clients, all the new clients coming in, is the 7 for 7. That $7 has changed my life.
I got my entire team together in person and I sat down and had a really raw conversation face to face with them on my thoughts on where we are as a studio, where I want to be as a studio, and things that I don't ever want to happen. And so I kind of just was really open and honest with them on where I needed to change and that I can't do it by myself. I need their help.
And this has actually been one of the most like fun things of all of like the changes that I've made, was looking at like my scorecard each month, or looking at my scorecard and then seeing the percentages, but also the numbers. So like last month we got an email that said like our goal to get leads was 50 leads per month. And it kind of just like light bulb moment. I was like, I have always said I want this number of members, and I've never gone back and said what, like we've talked about it, but I've never set specific goals for myself. So what I did was I set a goal. Okay, if I get this many leads, let's try to make this many of them first timers. And then took that number and like applied it, like multiplied times my conversion percentage, said, okay, this is how many trials I want to sell. And then did that by my conversion percentage and said, this is how many members I want to sell. And I shared that with, I have a girl that helps me with like my sales process and brand bot stuff behind the scenes. And so we sat down at the beginning of the month and we're like, okay, here's how we're going to do this. And then we divided it up and I said, okay, your job is to take care of our leads that come into the system and to make sure that they have lots of point of contact. If she's got 2 kids too. So like, hey, if your kids are having a bad day, let me know and I'll call them. But we are going to make sure these leads are taken care of. Your point on that. My job is going to be to go get the leads.
Really, the shift was realizing that you had people there that could help you and breaking down kind of your own insecurity of not wanting to ask for help and asking for help, and then seeing how those people actually rallied around you and want to help.
It also gives them the opportunity to step up and into a new role. And I think that was also really big for us in May, is that when I asked for help and gave other people the opportunity to do more things, they felt helpful and it gave them the opportunity to kind of shine in a different way. And that's also really rewarding when, one, I got something off my plate. 2, they have a sense of pride and accomplishment when they are a part of the success that comes when they have stepped up to help.
When you're in a position where maybe your revenue numbers aren't exactly where you want them to be, and then you start to recognize that you do need more help, a lot of times business owners tend to kind of fall back immediately to the excuse of, I know I need help, but I can't afford that help. But what did that allow you to then do in and for your business once you got that task off your shoulders?
Really, personally, I just kind of cut some costs here. I cut our cleaning service and now I do a trade with a client where she cleans. So to make it make sense at first, I made sure that the money was available, and then it takes more time off of me. So then I'm not paying for childcare. So then that's a huge thing for, me personally. And then it makes the instructors that she is helping and the instructors that have already been here stronger and better. So then their attendance is better. They have more people coming in. The friends of the clients coming in to see these new instructors are sticking around. So it creates a strength within the instructor group.
So what held you back from asking for that help until now?
I think because this is my hometown and where I grew up, I just needed to feel like I did this and that I am a success. It's just a fear of failure. I think I just put all the pressure on myself, and that will keep me from reaching out and asking for help for sure.
Where do you feel like getting some of those kind of operational things off of your shoulders, how has that helped you to be maybe more present with your business or your family, or just changes in general that you've seen even in a short amount of time?
Well, it's just that it allows me to be more present in the places where my strengths are used the most. And that's both business and personal, because now I can focus on what I'm good at in the business, but I also, with delegating, allows me to, when I'm at home, be present with my kids, be present with my husband, and I can take a breath and not be here 24/7. We are all coming together, and whichever avenue it is at the studio, whether it's teaching a class, whether it's sending a text, whether it's trying to create a partnership in the community or run social media, there's one of us, and it's almost a different person for every single one of those things, that we're all working together. We all feel like we're coming together for the greater good of the studio. And I think I know that it allows for me to just breathe.
And having her help has just made everything so much easier on me. So I've been able to, instead of just my mindset being, okay, I need to do this day to day, put out the fire, all that type of stuff. It still is, but it's more in the background. And it's been such a good investment. It's honestly, I would say it's what we tell our clients. If you want to go to Gold's Gym, you can. You're not going to get the same results. If you want to come and see what it's like to invest in yourself, invest in your health, and what it's like to have somebody walk alongside you and cheer you on, this is our price point. Same thing for that. Like I would just say if it's something that you've been thinking about, I would highly, highly, at least just look into it. Maybe just have a conversation with somebody, ask them, hey, like what here's numbers wise what I'm thinking. Would this align with what you'd be willing to give? And maybe it's a little bit of a negotiation. But I think that's one of the best things that I've done for my business.